Good afternoon. I'm kind of appalled to appear on a stage where the word Kardashian has been used 3 times already this afternoon, but I'll get over that. So I'm Gerri Ward, I'm the Sustainability Manager at Z Energy. So Z is a downstream transport fuels company, not an upstream oil producer. So we are on the record as saying that we believe that climate change is real and it's happening, and that we feel that we're in a unique position to go from being at the heart of the problem of climate change to being at the centre of the solution of the biggest environmental threat of our time. So we reckon we're making some pretty good progress on our own sustainability journey, and it's time to start telling our own good stories in a more deliberate manner. And to get some insights into how to do that, I attended the Sustainable Brands Conference this year in San Diego in June. I've just realised I haven't got my clicker. There it is. So the Sustainable Brands Conference has been going for 7 years. This was its 7th year in San Diego. Had about 1,500 attendees from the one-man band, marketing, boutique firms and app developers, through to the firms with the hundreds of thousands of employees like Walmart, Unilever, Levi's, Lego, and Target. One of the biggest insights I think I took from being in that group of people for 4 days was just the sense of isness that there was around sustainability as an industry. This was something that had been around for decades and will be around permanently. And it was so compelling and encouraging to be in that environment and that sense of permanence that was around sustainability as an industry. And as someone pointed out to me, that in a world in which we feel like we're pushing the proverbial uphill in most of our day jobs, it was like having one great big global hug. And I think I came away from the conference with a real balance of insights and mind-blowing metrics and learnings on the one hand, and real reassurance that Z's on the right path on the other hand, and I'll share how in a minute. So the key themes that I took away from the conference this year you've heard about all day today, pretty much. So they were around telling your story with authenticity and transparency and being honest about where you've won and where you've lost. Exploring the opportunities out of partnerships and collaboration. And figuring out what your and your company's purpose and values are and how they're reflected in your sustainability program. So firstly, authenticity. This came up as a theme and it's come up again today. Telling your story with authenticity and integrity and credibility is key to communicating your good stories well. So Jim Hanna from Starbucks said, successful brands understand that embedding sustainability into your product or service as a truly integral, baked-in part of your offering is why customers will choose you and remain loyal to your brand. And I love this quote, sustainability is a gift with purchase, not the shiny bauble. So this reconfirms the shift that we've seen, and for those of you that were here last year and heard Jacqueline Farnham from Colmar Brunton talk about this subtle but really profound shift in the way that the world's best brands are marketing themselves, is that there's been a shift from whether consumers will pay extra for your product to consumers being loyal to your brand and you embedding sustainability on their behalf into everything that you do in the operations of your business and how you market your product. The second area that was huge at the conference was around partnerships. So from the big to big through to the big to little. The big to big one that stood out for me was Target and Walmart. So Target, Kate Heine, who's the Director of Sustainability at Target, was talking about this massive opportunity that has come from the beauty and personal care product segment of what they offer at Target. So this is a $74 billion industry. And in their organic and natural range that Target offers, Target expects to bring in $1 billion profit, $1 billion this year in the organic and natural range. So that's outselling the non-organic and natural products in their firm by about 4-fold. And in order to cause a change to this industry bigger than what they could have caused themselves, they've partnered with their arch rival Walmart to roll out the Beauty and Personal Care Summit and to get after procuring and producing organic and natural products in a way that is exponentially much, much greater than what they would have done themselves. So they're almost relinquishing their leadership position in this space in order to cause this change greater than what they could have caused themselves. And the big to little partnerships, this was really fascinating. So this story about Good Gym, I've got the hyperlinks there so that when the slides are distributed you can click on them. But so the guy in the red shirt there is a runner from South London, and he set up an app called Good Gym, whereby you meet at a certain point as a runner, and you go for a run, and then you do good in the community. So you're painting a school or a kindergarten, or you're building a jungle gym, and then you run home again. So you, as he said, you get to feel doubly smug because you're doing your good in the community and you're getting your exercise at the same time. The guy on the left here is from New Balance, and they had a product called Runnovation, where you use your exercise in an innovative way, and he felt that they didn't really have any guts behind that kind of that marketing platform. Came across the Good Gym product on Twitter, and they've, very long story short, now partnered over the last 2 years. They're now in every city we're aiming to be in every city in England in the next 2 years. So these are examples of people purposely disrupting the way that they do business by hiring people or buying products or services that bring something to their business that they would not have been able to achieve by themselves. The third story, and my absolute favourite story from the conference, was this beautiful man on the right. His name's Arthur Karaletwa. He's from Starbucks. So Arthur is Rwandan, and his entire family was wiped out in the Rwandan genocide. And he ended up living in America and did a lot of soul searching as to why the genocide had happened. He ended up developing a traceability tool that can be applied to any commodity, but ended up being applied to coffee beans and coffee farmers, and basically reduces the links in the chain between the people that are purchasing the coffee and the people that are producing it in Rwanda, and thereby increasing their remuneration and hopefully leading to less conflict and less chance of anything like that ever happening again. And the CEO of Starbucks found out about this product and hired Arthur. So again, another example of where people are deliberately making changes, huge changes to the way that they do their business, and disrupting the way that they do their business in order to cause a change bigger than that which they could have caused themselves. And this is what we've been talking about all day today, purpose and values. So Jonathan Atwood from Unilever, I'm sure who's seen this video, the crazy dancing guy on the hill. If you haven't, Google crazy dancing guy. If something like this comes up, it's a metaphor for leadership and being the first follower, and it's certainly really analogous to leading on sustainability. So he stood up and he declared his purpose, which I thought was really powerful, and he said, I'm the crazy dancing guy, I'm that guy in the right place at the right company with a little too much latitude to be that nut. And he ended up actually taking 400 VPs at Unilever away for a week to discover what their own personal purposes were. And then they came back to Unilever and discussed how their personal purpose was linked to the Unilever Sustainable Living brand, and then saw an increase in employee engagement as a result. The discussion that was really interesting is that some of these big guys, so the likes of the Walmarts and the Targets and the Unilevers, who are getting a huge amount of recognition around what they're doing around sustainability, and the likes of Target have been working on sustainability programs for about 30 years, were really inquiring into what their purpose was and how it was aligned to what their sustainability programs were. So they've been doing sustainability for 10, 20, 30 years, and not actually clear on what how their sustainability program is reflected in their purpose, and then going, actually, what is our purpose? And what's my purpose, and how's that actually linked through to what the company's purpose is? What is my why, and how is that linked to what the company's why is? And that was an absolute theme throughout the conference as well. So why did I come away from the conference feeling pretty reassured that Zed's on the right track? So as I say, we embedded sustainability as a core underlying value in our foundation document, which is called the ZY. So basically, if you've seen the Simon Sinek video on why, that's the core of our business. So we actually have a document called the ZY. You're given it when you're recruited to a job at Z. It's like, if this makes sense to you, then you're probably going to get it here. The key difference about the ZY is that it wasn't created for us, on behalf of us, by a consultancy. It was created based on the values of the people who work there now. So caveat, we're a 5-year-old business, so it's easier for us to be close to the values of the people that work there currently than those that have been around for 70 years. But it speaks to the values of the people that work there now and will work there in the future. So why that's authentic is the sustainability program that we defined 5 years ago can be reflected in the progress that we've made to date. So we did our first GRI report this year. That stands for Global Reporting Initiative, Matthew. And for the first time, and it went, I think, really well. And it went well for a couple of reasons. One, we had an awesome team working on it across the organisation, so we had several people across departmentally working on the GRI report. But secondly, it went well because we had good stories to tell that we could report against. And here's just a few of the highlights, just really quickly. We've got a target to reduce our waste going to landfill across our retail network by 70% by 2015. The bottom left hand corner is the lovely Lisa at Z Carlton Corner standing outside the recycling bins that we now have at all of our 216 sites across the network. And that beautiful orange recycling bin is now in place. There's forecourts across the country at 103 sites across the country, which represents by far the biggest privately funded public place recycling scheme in the country. We've put LED lighting into the canopies across all of our network, reducing our carbon by 16% across the network. We've put reticulated water recyclers into our car washes. The bad news is that we had a 50% reduction target on our water use, and despite doing that, the program putting in reticulated water recyclers on our car washes, we've sold many, many more car washes, and we've doubled the number of coffees we've sold over the last couple of years, so our water use has increased by 50%, not gone down by 50%. So that constitutes an epic fail, which we have reported against. The other thing that we've really used this year is that we've really leveraged the vehement sense of competition that our awesome frontline staff have. So we run an annual competition called Waste Warriors, where sites pit themselves against each other to reduce the amount of waste going from their sites to landfill or increase the amount of recycling. This is this year's winner, the lovely Ashley at Rangiora with her magnificent trophy. So her and her team recycled the amount of waste going off their site by an amazing 87% over the 3 months that the competition ran. And the guys absolutely love competing with each other. In terms of telling good stories, we run a monthly shout out where we shout morning tea out for a team that tells us a good story, which we then publish in a weekly update to the site staff, and you really use the championing and storytelling tool that provides. The top right-hand corner is the guys at Z Queenstown. So we ran a competition this year to say to the 2,000 site staff that work on our sites, you know, what are we missing? You know, we've got a really complex sustainability program that we've rolled out, but you know, what more can we do that really represents what sustainability means to your cluster, in your neighbourhood, in your community? And we had 77 submissions, which was pretty stunning. And the winning idea came from Z Queenstown, where they'd seen lots of camper vans come through Queenstown dumping rubbish everywhere. So they suggested that we put recycling bags into the camper vans. So we now have compostable recycling and non-recycling bags in all of the camper vans and rental cars that are going out of Queenstown at the moment. And the bottom right there is our coup de grace, which was a really interesting learning for me around, so we give away or have taken away all of the food waste and coffee grounds from all of our sites to commercial compost with the likes of our partners at We Compost in Auckland and Kaita Compost in Wellington. But the guys are actually asking for coffee ground stands to be out the front of our sites, and we rolled out a handful of them across sites, just saying grab some free coffee grounds for your gardener's garden, and the Facebook community went absolutely mental. Who knew that gardeners were so passionate? So we now have them at all of our food and coffee sites, and we get a lot of noise about that. Really interesting. And then the bottom middle picture there is our the jewel in our crown, our $27 million biodiesel facility, which is currently under construction and will be operational early next year. I think partnerships is the biggest gap that exists at Z and certainly in New Zealand at the moment. I think fundamentally there's a gap in New Zealand because on the one hand we say we're up for innovation and partnerships, and then on the other hand we actually really admire the DIY approach, and those are fundamentally at odds as concepts. And I think this is, you know, we are a village, and we don't tell the stories that we've got well enough internally in order to cause a change that's bigger than what we could have caused on our own. And this is certainly going to be the focus for me and my team for the next year. We've actually just rolled out a sustainability supplier code of conduct project whereby we have categorised all of our suppliers into 3 tiers based on criticality, spend and interface with customers. And what that will mean is that we produce shared performance agreements or continuous improvements agreements with all of our suppliers, whereby we find areas around sustainability where we can work together to cause a change exponentially greater than what we could have caused on our own and really be the pebble in the pond. Our why, as I say, is our foundation document. Our purpose and our values guide all that we do. Our purpose there, solving what matters for a moving world, is, as you can imagine, really aligned with the sustainability program. And our values, which are share everything, have the passion, be bold, be straight up, and back our people and help them grow, are at the core of all of the conversations that we have. They're at the core of our recruitment, the 360 review processes that we run, the compensation decisions and performance appraisals and talent management, and also the conversations that we have with our suppliers and the deals that we do with them. So what do I want to leave you with? The key themes out of what's going on in terms of best practice sustainable brands internationally. Are you telling your story authentically and transparently? Are you being honest and credible about the overs and unders where you've won and where you've lost? What are you doing to seek out the partnerships and the collaborative opportunities that can cause a change exponentially greater than what you could have caused on your own? And are you really clear on what your purpose is, what your why is, and how that aligns with what your company's purpose is and what the company's values are? And lastly, I want to leave you with a challenge. The secret to telling good stories is having good stories to tell. You've heard lots of stories today, as have I, that have inspired you, and you'll go away inspired. But the challenge I want to leave you with is don't just walk away inspired from today. Take action. Work out what the conversations are that are missing in your organisation to get to the bottom of the sustainability solution, and figure out what your place is in those conversations. If you say that the leadership in your organisation isn't getting it on sustainability, why is that really? Are you having the conversations with the right people at the right time to identify the gaps, identify the opportunities, seek out the champions, and tell the good stories? Figure out where you want to go and go there, because it's up to us. Thank you.